Now, regarding the speaker, I would say that none of you will object if I say this Toastmaster is one of the most poised Toastmasters I have ever met. And she's been with us right from the start of our club, Advanced Debate Club. And today she's going to deliver a project speech. So let me request every one of you to put your hands together and help me welcome the speaker for the day, Toastmaster Bindia George. Over to you, Toastmaster Bindia George.
I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, you are.
Communication is a skill that you can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you're willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve the quality of every part of your life. This is a quote by the motivational speaker, Brian Tracy. Good evening, Toastmaster of the Day, my Toastmaster friends and guests. It was the summer of 2004, and the skies were splashed with colors. I had been invited to a family function at my native. I was right out of college, less than a year since I started my first job, excited as a monkey who got a banana. I was all decked up, exuberant, and poised to meet my cousins. In the evening, I met my uncle, the eldest in the family, the authoritative, commanding head. He called me near and asked, Bindia Bole, how are you? How is your job? And that was all the trigger that I needed. I started explaining all about my learnings from my electronics and engineering days, how that became instrumental to get my current job in chip design. How was I part of a team who was involved in making chips, architecting, designing, testing the chips, and how involved in making the little systems enabling to make your phone calls and the chips which will enable the motion picture of your TV screen. I babbled on and on for 15 minutes before I realized he was completely tuned off to what I was saying and shifting on his feet, too polite to interrupt his little darling of the family. Hope you understand about my job? I asked tentatively. Yes, he replied. You make chips. With a sense of achievement, I moved on to the dance festive I had communicated in style. Later in the evening, he called me and introduced me to an old relative, an old aunt. After the initial introduction about my parents and family, and of course, how I was the marriageable age, he remarked, do you know she recently have got a big job? I flashed all my 32 teeth. The TV in your home, it's because of people like her. You can watch it with so much fun. My height increased by at least an inch. Without her, you cannot watch all your theatrical series with such passion. I was the seventh heaven. She makes those chips that you eat while watching TV. My whole world went crashing down. What just happened? What went wrong? What do you think? Our communication style clearly mismatched. While I love to talk and explain with all the finesse, my uncle had a very direct style of conversation, short and crisp. He wanted quick results without listening to all the blabberings of my speech, and he captured my most two used words, chips and TV, which unfortunately could be interpreted in two ways. Dear friends, communication always lie in the crux of any relationship. What you say and what the listener hears might be completely different. While it's important to communicate in style with all your grammarian words, it's also equally important to understand your and your listeners' communication style. so that your message is truly across. Have you felt your manager, your colleague, or even your spouse is not understanding what you're truly trying to say? I have felt. And if you have, you probably understand why. Repeating how Brand Tracy talked about, communication is always a skill that you can learn. It's like riding a bicycle or typing. If you're willing to work at it, you can rapidly improve every part of your life. The whole big question, which you always need to think in any conversation, is it just good enough to communicate in style or understand how the conversation is happening, how the person is interpreting your words, and how you are speaking? You may come to a Toastmasters meeting and get great vocabulary, a good counter report, and within the time. But if you don't understand what the audience wants, that becomes the thing. So communicate in style, communicate knowing the other person. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster.
Oh, wow, amazing.